Alright, so today we're going to be making a coffee cup in ONSHAPE. Alright, so the very first thing that we're going to want to do is get to top view. And we're going to choose sketch, choose the top plane, and now we're going to select the circle tool, and we're just going to create a circle somewhere on the plane. We're going to click once, type in the number 2, and then press enter. Alright, so now we have the basic shape for our coffee mug, which is a circle. Alright, so back to our top view, we're going to kind of tilt it a little bit. Next thing that we need to do is make our shape 3D, so it's an actual object. So we're going to go to extrude, and we're going to extrude up until it's up to 3 inches. So while I'm extruding, I can just press 3 and enter, and it'll actually create my shape. And when I hit enter again, it's real, it's created. So now we have a 3D shape. Alright, but it's not a cup. If anything, it's like those little blocks you would hammer into a tool or something, but it's definitely not a real shape that we would use for much of anything else. So to make it a cup, first off, it's a cylinder, but it's got to be hollow. So we're going to choose our cylinder. We're going to come up here to the shell tool, and we're going to choose this outside face, and then we're going to select this top face. Alright, and when you look, now it's looks like a cup. Alright, so once it looks like a cup, you can also go in and you can mess with this setting here, like the shell thickness. Like if I set this to 0.5 and then click somewhere else, that would be a very thick and slightly awkward cup. I've found that 0.1 looks good and works for our purposes. So now we have a cup. That's not a coffee mug. Coffee mugs have handles. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 3D shape and we're going to use the transform tool to move it where we want it to go. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use this plane right here, the right plane, and we're going to use it to draw something later, something on the outer edge of the cup. So we're going to select our shape, and we're going to go up here where it says transform, and make sure your shape is selected. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult about selecting the shape versus, we're going to hit enter, select our shape, we're going to go back to transform, and you see where it says line or point, we want to translate by X, Y, Z. Alright, so now we've selected our point, we've chose translate by X, Y, Z, and we're literally just going to move, so we're going to get a nice top view. We're going to move this over until it is just barely grazing the shape. So we want something like this. Alright, there's a little bit on this side, a little bit on this side, and then the line dissects through the cup, but not through the interior of the cup. We want to kind of go through that outer edge. Now, once it's where you want it to be, you press enter, and it'll move your shape. So now it's time to create that elusive handle. So we're going to come through here, and you can see we got a shape, part of the shape on this side, part of the shape on this side, and this is the side that comes through the plane. We're going to take our sketch tool. We're going to choose the plane, the right plane, whichever one dissects your object, and we're going to choose the circle tool. And you're just going to kind of come up here, find like a center point, and you kind of just want it to be roughly where you want to handle. And this is one of those eyeball things where it's better to get a feel for it than it is to really go by an exact number for this one. Alright, we're going to press enter, and we've just made a circle. So think of it this way, think of it as this is where the handle comes into your shape. It comes into your cup this way. Alright, it's going to be a very round handle, and that's okay for our first one. Next thing that we're going to have to do is we need to create something to revolve this shape around. So almost think of it like those little Play-Doh tools whenever you were a kid and you would push the Play-Doh through. We're going to extrude through this shape, but it's going to extrude down and then around a line through the middle until it touches back at the bottom. So we have to be kind of careful with how we do this. So we're going to use the line tool, and we're actually going to use the construction lines that you saw earlier in one of the other videos, this one, the construction line, and we're going to use that tool to help us make our center line. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of highlight over this and then move straight up. And you can see what's happened is it's given me that construction line, and it's made it where it's center on our shape. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to get close up to the top, and now I'm going to come down to the bottom, and you can see it's actually giving me this point where my shape is centered. I'm going to click once. And that's made a line that's going to go from the top to the bottom of my shape. And it's slightly off, 3.002, so it's pretty close to right. Now I'm going to come up here until I get this box. I'm actually going to click on this, and then I'm going to go right, and I'm going to go left. And then I'm going to hit escape. Now, the great thing about this is I can actually delete this line and this line, and if possible I could delete half of this line, but it's really not getting in the way, and I'm not going to mess with it, because what will probably happen is I'll delete the whole line and then I'll be upset that I deleted part of, you know, what I wanted. So now we're going to use the revolve tool. We're going to revolve this shape around this axis. Alright, so we're going to come over here. I'm going to choose revolve. Oh, I accidentally hit sketch. And now my shape disappeared. We're going to go back here, sketch 2. Make it visible. There we go. Now we're going to go to revolve. I'm going to faces and sketches region. It's just really mad about that one right there. We're going to delete that. Alright. Let's try one more time. Revolve. I'm going to choose the shape. So the shape I want to choose is this one, but right now it's giving it to me as if it were a construction line. So let's go take a look at my sketch again. It doesn't appear to be a construction line in here, but now it does. So we're going to click on this and make sure that we can edit it. So I'm going to go to sketch 2, edit, and this is just part of fixing our problems. So I'm going to click here and see that's a construction line, switch it back, and then I'm going to click this box right here, which is where I think my real problem lied. Now we're going to go to revolve. It's already, that circle's already selected, and now it says revolve axis, so I'm going to click revolve axis. I'm going to choose this point, and what's going to happen is it's going to give me this huge ring, which is awesome if I wanted a really weird coffee mug, but that's not what I'm looking for. So let's get a good top view here. We want to get rid of a portion of this ring. It's definitely in our way. So right here where it says full, I'm going to choose 2 directions. Now, the great thing about 2 directions is it gives me the ability to make a ring that goes between this line here and this line here. And we're going to rotate this around once. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to expand this out, and it's going to just bring it all the way until wherever I want it to be. Alright, now I know from experience that if I set this to 180, it's going to be pretty close to what I want. So if we look in the inside of the cup, I can't see it at the bottom, but it's going into the cup fully, so that's good. And I also know that if I set this one, I come in to 360, so 360, and I click out here, it's going to also go into the mug. And what's really happening is it's saying, hey, between 180 and 360, which is 180 degrees, which is half a circle, and it's saying, hey, show half a circle, and this is the half of the circle that I want. Alright, now if you put your handle on the other side, it might be slightly different numbers. It could be 0 and 180 even, but your main goal is to just get that general shape. Once you get the shape the way you want it, you can press enter and it'll create it. So now we have a mug with a handle, and if you look on the inside of our mug, it's empty. Our handle is firmly placed on there, but we have one problem, and that is people like to steal coffee mugs, and we don't want somebody to steal our coffee mug. So we're going to go from the bottom view, we're going to look at it this way, and we're going to go to sketch. And we're actually going to click on the bottom of our mug, and we're going to click text, and you want to make it pretty small. I've had a few problems with this tool, so I like to make it really small. And I'm just going to say Coach Clark, if I can spell my own name. And I'm going to press right out here, click this. Alright, so now it says Coach Clark, and I'm going to use the transform tool. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to just move it roughly center. And if you see here, it let me click, and it's got that little green click, so I'm going to click again. And that's close enough to center. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the extrude tool. I'm going to choose my text, and here's the problem. I want to remove, make sure I want to use the remove tool, but if I remove too far, it's going to make a hole through my mug. I do not want a hole through my mug. And if anybody remembers, the outer edge of our mug was 0.1 inches. So if I go 0.1 inches down, I'm going to have a hole in my mug, and a mug with a hole in the bottom is useless. So where it says depth, I'm going to go 0.05. I'm going to press enter. Enter again. Now, if you look here, it's gone in, but it hasn't gone through. So if we go to the top of the mug, you can't see my name here, but you can see it here. So it's etched my name into my mug on the bottom, and you can see it's there. You can, it's definitely there. There's a handle. It's inlaid on there, and that is one finished mug. All right, it's not perfect. So what I want you to do is I want you to make a full mug like this. Snap a picture where I can see your name, your handle, and your mug. And then your next goal is going to be make the mug your own. Make it something special. So I want you to start adding things to the mug, make it as kooky as you want, and then I want you to snap another picture, and you're going to upload both of those to Google Classroom.